The word's pumpkin spice. We're doing pumpkin spice.
Okay,
We'll do it.
excellent.
All right, 3, 2, 1. Oh, you know what that sound means. It's the best time of the year, pumpkin spice time. It is, of course, spooky month.
It's your month, Ken. Take it away.
That's all I got. I'm just guzzling pumpkin spice over here. Hey, welcome to the Overtalking Podcast with your hosts, Ken and CJ. Say hi, CJ.
Hi.
Hi. This is the show where we talk over TV shows and movies as chosen by our guests. And all month of October, we're talking about horror movies because it is spooky month. Yeah. CJ, are you ready?
I'm ready. Ready to just do a lot of this. That's me all month long. That was
through these.
That was audio of me watching this movie. I recorded myself the experience.
I don't doubt that. I was a little afraid. Some of the ones that we know are lined up for this month, I was afraid that you were going to say no to because they're a little too scary.
So okay, I'm gonna set the record. I'm abandoning all of my veto power this month. I'm going in.
Shit.
I'm accepting whatever the guest chooses. I'm gonna hate it, but I'm doing it for you, Ken. For you.
Thank you. Thanks, Siege. Well, I know what everything is going to be for the month at this point, so I think you're going to be okay after maybe next week. But we'll talk about that more.
Yeah, I'm really not looking forward to next week.
For sure. But it's October. It's cool breezes, fall leaves, pumpkins, all that jazz. CJ, Do you get in the spirit? Do you decorate?
We actually already do have one single pumpkin on our counter, so we're getting there. So yes,
nice.
We do decorate.
That's more than me.
Oh, okay. We beat you to it because it's definitely October right now.
Yes, we're definitely recording in October.
I'm looking out the window. There's so many fall leaves. All the colors are changing.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Mm-hmm. Let's bring our guest on.
Let's.
This week, we have returning guest, Karissa. Welcome back.
What's up? Hi, guys. I'm so excited for spooky season. This is also my favorite season. Woo! So very honored to be a horror respondent on this podcast.
Wow.
I did not make that up. I stole it. But
we are going to steal that too. So thank you for that.
You're very welcome.
We were talking before the show that you just love pumpkin spice. Is that right?
Pumpkin spice is the bane of my existence. I really did try it. I might have told this story on the pod before, but when I started grad school and I realized I needed caffeine to survive, I was getting like lattes every day and I was trying all the cool, good stuff. And then I put on what I call the first year of Masters 20 instead of the freshman 15. And it was almost exclusively because of lattes. So I stopped drinking lattes. I am on that hot black coffee train now. But I did try the pumpkin spice latte, and I don't know. I'm not into it. Maybe the one I had was bad, but is it the case that there's like pumpkin puree in that shit?
I don't think so.
Okay, maybe the one I had was just like maybe the milk curdled or something like that.
Dear God.
But I was like, I will never drink this again. It was really disgusting. So maybe I just need to give it a second try.
Maybe.
Ken, do you like pumpkin spice?
I do like pumpkin spice. I don't really get pumpkin spice lattes a lot, but
sure.
I get like pumpkin coffee.
Ooh, okay.
Pumpkin spice coffee.
Okay.
That's pretty good.
I love like a pumpkin donut. So going to the apple orchard around this time, and sure you get, the apple donuts, but then you also get like a yummy pumpkin donut.
Yeah.
That I can get into. I don't think it's maybe it's not the taste of pumpkin. Maybe it's that horrible, traumatic experience of my curdled pumpkin spice latte.
That would turn me off to it too. That sounds horrible.
It was disgusting. And I was like, ooh, people like this?
Yeah. Surprised you didn't vomit.
I might have.
Oh, yeah? Oh, okay.
I might have. Or I was close. At the very least, yeah.
I poured myself a nice big glass of expired milk the other day.
Oh, no.
Have not yet been able to drink milk.
I'm
really
so
gross.
sorry.
Oh,
I'm so sorry.
Was it a full-on, like, spit take? Did you just,
it was
immediately...
quick gulp, And then, it's already down, and I've already drinking it, and it's so bad.
No. I thought maybe like it had curdled, and so when you were pouring it into the glass, you realized that it was bad.
It wasn't chunky. It was just
thank God.
very, very sour.
Okay, well,
Not
that's
what I
still
was expecting.
disgusting. Still disgusting.
Chunky. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I would have to give up dairy forever.
Yeah, I have poured. Now, I notoriously hate milk, except in cereal, although I have switched to oat milk. But when I was still drinking milk in my cereal, there was one time where it was chunky. Oh, no. And I poured it in, and I was like, never again. Like you said, never again. I can never drink dairy. I can never drink milk ever again.
I think just the sound of chunky milk hitting the container is like,
yes, can't do
makes
it.
me get goosebumps thinking about it. Yeah.
I have a friend from grad school who loves milk. And she'll just like pour herself a tall glass of ice cold milk and drink it. And that's like maybe the most disgusting thing I've ever heard. And so whenever she does it, she knows how much I hate it. Whenever she does it, she'll send me a photo. And she's like, thinking of you.
Okay, follow up. What kind of milk? Is
Just
it 2%?
Good old fashioned 2% milk,
2%,
baby.
okay. At least it's not like whole.
Sure,
Just like
I mean,
a big
just
glass
the
of whole.
thickest.
Sure, yeah. I mean, that would
heavy
be
cream.
worse. That would be worse, yeah.
I was a good Midwest milk boy growing up. We drank plenty of it in the household, and now I can't
Milk
remember
boy.
the last time
Milk
I've drank
boy. That's disgusting.
It.
I'm
Also
so sorry.
describes my complexion.
Yes.
Good Midwestern.
Sure. Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
I was a big milk guy. Maybe,
In what
maybe not
way?
so much anymore.
Like just
I-
pouring glasses of milk?
I fuck with Oreos, you know?
Okay, sure. Well, that's a little
yeah.
different. Sure.
No, I don't know. I would drink, just glasses of milk.
That's maybe.
It's good. It's good and good for you.
Okay, I can't talk about it anymore.
Getting sick.
It's
Is
disgusting.
this your horror movie? Is
It
just
is.
milk?
Yes. When I close my eyes at night and I enter my nightmare land, it's just big glasses of milk chasing me.
Milk and expired pumpkin spice
Exactly.
lattes.
Exactly. Yes. You
They're
get
teaming
it.
up.
You get it.
Damn.
Although I also I have a lot of nightmares. I'm a really vivid dreamer, and I joke that I close my eyes at the end of every day and then just like walk straight through the gates of hell. Like it's bad. My nightmares are really extreme. So that's why scary movies don't really scare me, because I'm like, this is nothing compared to what my psyche can conjure every night.
Nothing compared to what's going on up
Exactly. Exactly. Can't outdo this, baby.
If you're comfortable, what's the scariest nightmare you've had recently?
Well, I am planning a wedding. So a lot of the nightmares are wedding related, but also a lot of my nightmares are just like the end of the world. So like I'm running, buildings are falling, and in my dream world there are 2 bunkers that exist that I know where they are, and these are places that I can return to night after night in my dream world, and so I just go and find the bunker and I get in and that's it. I resign myself to the end.
Full apocalyptic.
Every night, baby, and then I wake up and I have to go to work.
Oh boy.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's not great.
Oof. That's almost as scary as this movie, which I haven't even announced yet what we
haven't.
watched this week. This week we are talking about the Blair Witch Project.
That's right.
That's right.
So we're going to talk about that and more coming up on the Overtalking Podcast.
There's my friend Josh.
Hey.
Josh. 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 Josh.
Ken, just want to point out you've not commented on my amazing mic covers. Did you see the color coordination here?
Orange and black?
Orange and black, baby.
Nice. I like it.
He did it on purpose, supposedly.
I did. Those are because there's the other ones, and I've got a drawer full of other colorful ones. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah,
That's
right.
great.
He did it just for you, Ken.
I'm in the spirit.
Thanks, Siege. And we're back on the Overtalking Podcast, joined once again by returning guest Karissa, and this week we are talking about the Blair Witch Project. Karissa, we're going to put 30 seconds on the clock for you to describe for someone who's never heard or seen the movie The Blair Witch Project what it is all about.
Ready, go.
All right. We have 3 documentary filmographers who decide that they're going to explore the woods where there is supposedly a witch that haunts those hills. And they go in there. A lot of things happen. It's quite scary.
10 seconds.
There lots of things happen, and then it's scary in the end.
It's scary in the end. That's it. So I didn't preface this yet, but the prompt for this month for all of the guests is the first horror movie that like actually scared you.
Yes.
And this is what you chose. So can you remember when you first watched this movie?
I remember it very vividly. Now, not to make you guys feel old or anything, but I was 6 years old when this movie was in theaters. So I, of course, did not see this film in theaters, but my mother really, really likes horror movies. So we always watched scary movies. Growing up, I was probably way too young to be watching some of these movies, but we watched them. And so I also had a cousin who really loved horror movies, and we would go and see all the Paranormal Activities in theaters when they came out. And this was one that I watched at my house with my cousin and my sister, and, watched it on our very small flat screen TV in my living room as a child. And it scared me so badly. We're outside people. I mean, we used to be outside people. I now think that I'm mostly an inside person, but we used to go camping a lot. And so I was out in the woods a lot. And I just also was of the age where I saw all of the fake news stories about the Blair Witch. And of course, I mean, when I was, I'm 10 years old watching this, and that's all it took for my 10-year-old brain to be like, well, this is real, and she's coming for me, and I'm next. I can never go out in the woods ever again. This one really messed me up.
Dang.
Yeah, that's definitely fair. CJ, how much do you know about the marketing around this movie?
I know that it's not real. I hope.
Okay.
But it was marketed as it was real, as if it was real.
That's correct.
Right. It was marketed that those 3 documentarians are missing or presumed dead.
Yes.
And they found this movie a year later after they went out.
Yes. I remember, I don't see, Ken also shared with me and CJ that there was a Discovery Channel, is that correct?
I think it was on the Sci-Fi Channel. Yeah.
Sci-Fi Channel, okay. And there was this special that aired as a promotional kind of another fake documentary before the movie. And I don't believe I ever saw it, but I did see the website. So it was blairwitch.com or maybe theblairwitch.com.
Yeah,
and it's still, it's listed like at the end credits of the movie. And I remember I had a desktop computer in my bedroom as a kid, mostly to play Neopets and I Am with my friends. But I remember after watching this movie, I was like, I have to look it up. I have to see if it's real. And so you go to blairwitch.com and they had all of that fake news footage. And I was like, holy shit, this is real. How I was just baffled. I couldn't understand how this was real and how it was on my TV, and it was so scary. I genuinely don't think I knew that it was fake until like years later. Like they fully got me. Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely a common thing for people who saw it around the time. You mentioned that Sci-Fi Channel special. It's called The Curse of the Blair Witch.
Yes.
And that was originally meant to be part of the movie. They
No
actually
way.
shot a lot of that footage for it to be kind of, they wanted it to feel like a Discovery Channel documentary show kind of thing where they have talking heads and then they cut to the actual footage. But they ended up not needing it because they had such strong footage from the woods that they ended up just splicing it into this TV show and put it on Sci-Fi before the movie came out.
I got about 5 minutes into that thing and was like, no, I can't do it.
Yeah, no, that's why I sent it to the group and I was like, this is heavily optional because it's not that great.
Yeah.
I loved it so much. I did watch it. I did remember some of the footage that was from it was also on the website. I definitely hadn't watched the whole thing all the way through, but I had seen bits and pieces of it. And it was so fun to like remember back on how scary that was the first time I saw it and how convincing it was. And then to see it now, it's like, oh, this is fake. This is so fake.
Yeah.
This is so stupid.
I like the film teacher. He was like, and she was one of the top 2 or 3 students in my whole career, and she wanted to make a documentary, and that's where my background is.
Right.
In, blah, blah. I was like,
I also
loved.
I loved that all the talking heads were like talking shit about one or all of the
Yeah.
people who are presumed dead.
Yeah.
Again,
These people are dead, presumably.
Okay, I made it like 5 minutes into this thing before turning off. But they interview not Heather's parents, but her quote unquote grandfather.
Yes.
And he just tells a story about how her parents were yelling at him to like not drop the baby when she was
Yes.
born. I was like, what the fuck does this have
Yes.
to do with anything?
And I think that's where it breaks down for me is like,
5 minutes in.
okay. Yeah, well, just all of the places where they're like talking shit or like
Yeah.
off topic. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, this wouldn't cut it as like a real Discovery Channel kind of thing. But they did really try to make it feel that way. And I could see it being convincing to an audience that's unsuspecting. Yeah.
Especially back, when did this come out? Was this
99.
90? Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, exactly. Back then, the internet was like barely a thing as
Right.
we know
Right.
it, and so
Right.
like you couldn't. Yeah,
It's impossible to fact check at that point. Yeah.
Yes.
But it's like the
Exactly.
perfect time for that website to exist
Yes, it
because
was.
people can access it, but they can't like search anything about
Exactly.
Yeah.
it. It's
Exactly.
great.
Ken, what was your early experience with this movie?
I think the first time I watched this was at a friend's house, and she had it on VHS and put it up on this very small tube TV.
Yes.
And we just all gathered around and watched it at nighttime. And I just remember freaking out. And
Yeah.
I didn't think it was real, but it definitely scared me. And the ending specifically, which to
Yes.
this day is still kind of one of the more scary endings.
It's
Not
quite
because it
scary.
shows you anything, but just because it's just so unsettling, and it's a callback to something earlier in the
Yes.
film. And I don't know. It always gets me. I always get the chills.
Yeah, it's scary. It's very scary. I want to talk about the ending, but not yet.
Yeah.
Because I want to hear what CJ's experience of watching this was.
Yeah. Have you seen this before?
no, I haven't.
Wow, okay.
I liked the runtime going into it. It was like
Excellent.
barely an hour or
Yep.
whatever,
Yeah.
just over.
Yep.
I gotta say, I like towards the ending. I think the last frame that you see, the guy facing the wall, which is what was set up earlier when they're interviewing somebody. I was like, okay, that's a good callback. That's a cool way. But I don't know. I think I still wanted more from it, or like. I
You
don't know,
wanted that payoff.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
I'm spoiled, right? Because this came out in '99. I think so. Back then, this probably would have been like super cool, and there wasn't anything like this before. But I think because I don't know, movies these days, there's so much going on
Yes.
that like not a lot happens and then the ending.
Yeah.
I was expecting somebody to get like pulled off
Sure.
frame or something like that.
Yeah.
Right.
But I was like, but that's not what this is.
Right.
That's a weird expectation to have. But yeah, I don't know.
I
No,
understand. Yeah.
I felt that way too watching through this time. And maybe we should just talk about the ending. For
Yes,
for
let's
those who
do
haven't
it.
seen it, skip ahead for a little bit. But also, this is a super old movie, so,
Yes.
deal with it. But yeah, as CJ mentioned, Mike, the character and actor, everyone in this movie plays themselves, which is
right.
interesting.
Which is also why it's so convincing at the time, because you look up the actors' names and the actors' names are their names. And so you're
Right.
like, well, it is real.
yeah.
Anyway, I didn't mean to interrupt, but like,
No,
man.
that's great.
Yeah, my 10-year-old me was like, "Oh my god, it's Heather Donahue! Holy shit!"
Right. It's actually her. Yeah. I can't tell if I had seen Heather Donahue in something else before this, because I remember watching for the first time and being like, oh, I recognize her. But anyway, I'm digressing. Yeah, the ending is Mike's facing the corner, and then Heather goes down to the basement and then sees him and then drops the camera, and that's it. And that's all you see. But yeah, I don't know. Having seen so many found footage movies at this point,
Yes.
even though this was one of the first ones,
Right.
it definitely landed better back then than I think it does
Yes,
now.
I think so too. Yeah, found footage, it's kind of overdone at this point. But at the time, like, it was so new and really convincing and really novel. And I actually want to challenge your interpretation of the end, Ken, because you hear Heather's screams far away. So presumably someone else has the camera in their hand that isn't Mike
Well,
and isn't Heather.
That's right. It
Could
does
be-
get picked up, right?
What's that other guy's name?
Josh.
Could be Josh,
So-
but could be the witch.
my interpretation of that is only one of the cameras has sound on it, And I think
Yeah,
it's the
okay,
one that
sure.
Mike has that he
Yep.
brought into the basement. So
Yep.
as she gets closer, it gets louder.
That's a good interpretation. Yeah, that's a good interpretation.
That's right.
Yeah. But I do love, and see, I grew up in a pretty rural area, and my grandparents, for example, have a lot of land, and there's an old foundation of a house on their land. And they're like, oh, yeah, so-and-so from decades back lived here. Here's where the foundation was. So to me, it's not like that outlandish for there to just be like a random
yeah.
house. In fact, it's like pretty likely. And so when they found that house, I was like, oh, shit, here we go. And then there were like bloody handprints on the walls.
It's supposed to be the kids,
yes.
right? Yeah.
Oh my gosh, so scary.
Okay, okay. A couple. One, going into the house, it's clearly like decrepit,
Yes.
holes in the walls and stuff like that. Would you both go upstairs in a old decrepit? Like, I would be like, I'm going to die if I try to climb these stairs. I'm going to put my foot down. My foot's going to go through the stairs.
But what if you heard Ken screaming
right.
from
CJ,
upstairs?
I'm screaming upstairs.
He's screaming. He's in pain.
Help.
What do
Yeah.
you do?
I'd be like, well, I mean, I would take out my cell phone, call for help.
Sure, in 1999.
CJ.
In what scenario am I going camping with just Ken
That-
out in the
well-
woods?
That's true.
Yeah,
Come
I
on,
don't know.
don't pretend we don't do that every weekend.
I think it's so scary when the moment that they really realize that they're lost. Like that is so scary to me. And they've been walking all day, and they've been walking for what, like 8 hours, 10 hours, and they come upon the exact place that they started.
Yes.
That is so scary. As someone who has been lost in the woods before, very, very scary.
The way that Heather like reveals that too, where she's
Yes.
like initially
She's, like,
in denial,
breaking down.
of
Yes.
like, no, this isn't it. This isn't
Yeah.
it.
Same log.
This is the same one. Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
Oh my god.
yeah. And
God,
just
it's
watching
so
them
good.
all, watching each of them separately kind of just like devolve into panic, and then kind of pull themselves back, and then reach that panic again and pull themselves
Yeah.
back, all at kind of different times and in different ways. And I think for the listeners, I did write some notes when I was watching this. And one of the things that, what is that big word in the middle in all caps?
Unlikable.
All of the characters are so unlikable. They're just, you don't,
Yeah.
they're all really grinding each other's gears. And it's really effective because you're like,
Yeah.
you idiots, like stop panicking, stop being dickheads. Like,
Okay,
Yeah.
I
They
did
all
want
have
to talk
flaws
about
for sure.
yes.
one of my, I think possibly my favorite part of the whole thing.
Is it
Oh
the
no,
map
I know
kicking?
what you're going to say.
Yeah, I knew it.
Yes.
Mike is just like,
He's hysterical.
It's on that verge of like laughing, but you're like, oh, he's losing his
Yes.
mind. Like this is a crazy laugh, and then he's like, and then reveals like, I kicked that back into the creep. Ah! They're like, what the fuck?
They're
And
like,
he's
Mike,
it was useless.
you didn't actually do that, did you?
Yeah.
Mike?
Yeah,
Mike?
and he's just laughing.
Mike?
more.
He kicked the map into
Yeah.
the creek.
I think Mike's my favorite out of all of
Yeah,
them.
I like Mike at the end where he's like, I found some cigarettes. He's like rocking back and
Yeah.
forth. He's like, I found some cigarettes in the bottom of my bag. That means I'm still alive because I'm smoking.
Yeah, that was like, I was like, holy
Oh,
shit.
this is getting really dark.
Yeah.
So
You're having a
so yeah,
full-blown
so
mental breakdown.
there's definitely some interesting story beats throughout this. Karissa, how much do you know about how this film was shot?
I don't really know anything about it.
Okay, well let me.
I wanna
inform
hear
you all.
about it.
So I actually just
do
listened to a podcast called The Boo Crew, which is a dumb name, but
The Boo
I was about
Crew?
to say that's a great name.
Boo? Like
Boo.
like ghosts. Boo. Okay. Boo Crew. Okay,
yeah.
great.
And they had on one of the directors and writers of this, and so he was talking in depth about how they did this, and they just had a loose script, and then they gave those three people some cameras and a GPS thing, and said, "Hey, each day, go to this coordinate and set up camp there, and there's going to be a note for each of them that day for what they need to do for the next day." And
Oh my
they can't tell each
God.
other what the note says. And they did that for 8 days. And
That's incredible.
they would leave their footage and old batteries there and move on to the next campsite. And then the crew would come in and collect them. And that's it.
Wow.
And so all of the dialogue is improvised. Some of the story beats are improvised. I'm pretty sure Mike kicking the thing into the map into the river is improvised.
That's
Great.
amazing.
Yeah,
That's
it's
why
incredible.
it's so. No wonder it's so convincing. Like it's
Yeah.
really, really. If you think about it that way, it's like, oh, okay, that makes sense. But when you think of these people as actors, it's really amazing what they can do. And I was thinking about that too when they're talking to. I wonder if you know anything about this. When they're like interviewing the townspeople, those people are so convincing. Do you
Yeah.
Right.
do you know anything about what that was all about?
I'm not sure if those were actors or those were real people. I'm
Yeah.
assuming they're actors because
Yeah.
the Blair Witch is not a real thing.
Sure.
But they went to Burkittsville and actually did
Whoa.
interview people there, and only for a day. But since this movie came out, Burkittsville has become a huge hotspot for people traveling to find the Blair Witch or whatever.
Well, that's also the topic of the Blair Witch 2, which
Yes.
I sadly watched yesterday in preparation for this.
Sadly.
Yeah,
Well,
I sadly
it's-
watched it this morning, and
It's exceptionally bad.
Oh,
yeah.
Exceptionally bad.
it does have Jeffrey Donovan in it, who is from Burn Notice. So
Oh, I don't.
CJ
Wow.
Cameron.
Episode 1.
Yeah.
Episode 1, you guys did Burn Notice?
Yeah, I think
Oh,
so.
that's hilarious.
But yeah, it's exceptionally bad. It's not found footage,
No.
even though they try to incorporate cameras into it.
Yes.
They pretty much off the bat say that the Blair Witch is just a movie. So
Yes. I think
don't
that's
know.
really interesting because it's positioning itself as real, but at the Blair Witch Project movie as being fake. And I think that's so funny that it's a fake. It's a fake movie about a movie.
it's a
but
fake
similar-
dramatization about
Yes.
quote unquote real events that happened after
the movie. And same with that weird Sci-Fi Channel thing. It's like this is a fake documentary about a fake documentary.
Yeah.
Right.
Like that's so funny to realize you're watching a fake documentary about a fake documentary. It's like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
Very meta.
Yeah.
Very.
I want to go back to what you're talking about interviewing the townspeople and
Yes.
that they were probably actors.
Yes.
But man, they're interviewing this mom holding her child
Yes.
in her arms. And as she's describing the horrible story, the kid just starts going no and putting their hand over the mom's mouth.
Yes.
to, like,
Isn't that
close.
spooky?
Yeah, I know.
Oh my gosh,
like,
that's
That's
so
really
spooky.
unbelievable.
Yes. And I also have a note here that child picked his nose and ate it on camera.
I missed that.
I missed
Yes,
that
that
too.
is one of the 5 notes that I made. The other note that I made was Mary Brown, crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yep.
I needed to write a note about that, apparently.
Agreed. I think,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
What other notes do you have?
I think we've covered most of them. It's titled Blair Witch Project, and it says found footage. Sure, I wanted to make sure we talked about it being found footage. For sure, thought it was real website ? And then I wrote unlikable in all caps, and then little kid picking nose and eating it. Mary Brown crazy, and that's where I stopped.
Okay.
That's like the first 10 minutes of the movie, and then I stopped taking notes.
I did like the characters being unlikable. Some of the dialogue though, they haven't quite reached the like screaming match at each other yet.
Yeah.
But they're arguing a ton throughout this. But I love that their way of phrasing it was just like, that's just so not cool.
So not cool, man.
Like I'm
Yeah.
just trying to be cool. That's so not cool.
So not cool.
Yeah, they're really
very
funny.
90s.
I love just their dynamic because these people don't really know each other. They're just like one guy, he's like an audio guy, and Heather's a filmmaker, and then she has this buddy, and they just like don't really know anything about each other. So then they get out in the woods in this situation, and yeah, like balancing their tempers and it's just really funny. I just love it so
Yeah.
much.
Okay, before we go to trivia, one,
Yes.
I need a clarification because I could not tell what it was. Heather finds a bloody thing
Yes.
on the
Yes.
ground. What was that?
I think it's
My
a
impression
tooth.
was that it was teeth and that there was a finger in there also.
There's a finger. Okay.
Yeah, I think there's a finger in there.
couldn't tell.
But I do think there are for sure teeth, right?
Yeah, well, the only thing I saw was just a tooth and like a pool of blood, basically.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell what. I just saw the pool of blood, but I was like, I can't tell.
I don't know
what that
why
is.
in my mind I'm thinking it's a finger, but yeah, mostly it's obscured. Mostly it's just blood.
Okay. But it's like in his shirt, right?
Yes,
Yeah. Okay.
yes, it's wrapped up in his shirt.
Poor Josh.
And the really scary stick people that
Yeah.
are hanging in the
yeah.
trees
The
is
little
very
stick figures?
scary. Yes, the literal stick figures. Yeah, and the stacks of rocks are all really, I don't know. That's all just very scary to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
The stick figures, sure.
Sure.
Stacks of rocks, like,
Okay, but imagine that you're out in the woods, you're lost.
Yeah, and then all of
Presumably,
a
no
sudden,
one knows where you are. You don't
like
know
a
where you
little-
are.
yeah.
And you
then
assume
you
that
wake up.
not many people have
Yeah.
been through there.
Exactly. And you wake up and there are just like stacks of rocks in the shape of like a pentagram around your tent that
Yeah.
either someone put those there when you were sleeping or you somehow pitched your tent right in the middle of that. Both of those options are very scary.
Right.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
that's not an animal that set that up. That's
No.
something that has intelligence and dexterity.
No.
oh, animals don't have intelligence, Ken? Is that what you're saying?
Not
They don't have
stack rocks
thumbs.
like that.
Rude.
Yeah.
Have either of you ever had a scary experience like camping or in the woods?
Never been.
Never been camping?
Correct.
Wow.
I went
Ken?
camping when I was a Cub Scout, and
Okay.
that's about it. And no.
Okay.
Have you?
Yeah, I've been camping a bunch. Grew up camping, and the scariest one was they were definitely people and not animals. But we were in a campground, so our campsite was like within walking distance. Like we could see the other campers, so it wasn't like we were in the backwoods or anything. But we got inside the tent, me and my sister and my two friends. We got inside the tent, and you could hear like keys jingling and footsteps on the gravel, and it was obviously people, but people are scary just in general. People who are going to approach your tent, four young ladies in a tent, and someone's going to approach you. But like they were close enough, whoever it was close enough that they were like rubbing up against the side of the tent, and we were all in there just like, okay, like try to be cool.
Dang.
But I've never had like a scary, like paranormal kind of experience in the woods. Although I do believe in ghosts, I have had ghost experiences. It might be too late in the podcast to get into all of that, but
You've mentioned this.
Yes.
You've told us in outside of the podcast
Yes.
at least one of the stories.
Yes.
And you know what? It's spooky month. If you're
It's
up for
spooky
it,
month.
can
I'm
you
always
share,
up
can you
for
share
it.
another one?
Yeah. So non-believers will not believe me, but I grew up in a house that was haunted, and I like to joke that I took my ghost to college with me. Because there were all these weird things that happened in our house when we were growing up. My sister saw, a figure, and I saw a figure. One time I was home alone, and I was sitting on my bed, and it was facing the hallway, and I saw a woman walk by my door frame, and I thought it was my mom. And I started talking. I said, "Mom, I didn't know you were home." And I followed it into my mom's bedroom, and there was nobody there. And so I called my mom on the phone, and I said, "Hey, were you home?" And she's like, "No, we haven't been home." So I ran as fast as I could out of the house and down the street to my friend's house, where I stayed until all my family got home. But yeah, I've had other weird experiences. And then when I went to college, weird stuff started happening in my dorm room, and it stopped happening in my house where I grew up. So we all joked that it was attached to me, and it came, which you guys will hear all about, ghosts attaching themselves to people next week, because I know what's coming next week.
That's a little teaser.
That's a little teaser. And so my roommate and I would have weird experiences, and like things would be like tossed onto the floor and shatter, and
Whoa.
yeah, like we would come home and like, with like a drop ceiling, how those tiles, you can move them. We would come home after being in class all day, and those tiles would be moved, and just weird stuff. But after I graduated from college, it all stopped. I haven't had any weird experiences since. So I left it there.
They also got their degree and moved on to better things.
Exactly. They also
got a job.
They also went and for some reason got their PhD, and they're off, thriving somewhere else that isn't wherever I am. But
Wow.
I do believe in ghosts. Ghosts are really scary to me, and ghosts in the woods are particularly scary to me. So
Yeah.
I would be probably pretty freaked out of just like the random noises you would hear in the
Yes.
woods from animals and things creaking and stuff like that.
Yes. Yeah, which reminds me of Eric and I were talking about this the other day, how kind of like the cruelest insult you can say to someone is like, "Hey, take a hike and get lost." Like it seems so tame, and then you
Yeah.
think about it for a minute, and you're like, oh, fuck.
Yeah. You could die. Yeah.
So I'm going to start
Yeah.
telling the people, my mortal enemies, I'm going to start telling them to take a hike and get lost.
Yikes.
Because that's the scariest thing I can imagine.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll find Josh.
Maybe they'll find Josh. Yeah,
Oh.
exactly. Thank you for bringing it back to the movie.
R.I.P.
R.I.P. Rip. Well, we don't know. He might
Yeah,
still
we
be
don't
out
know.
there.
Ah, he
We
might
heard
be.
him.
Yeah. We didn't see anyone actually die. So,
No.
Yeah.
to be fair. All right. Well, I think that's a great segue into trivia. So it's time for. Hey, did you know that? That's right. For new listeners, this is the part of the show where we pit our guest and CJ head to head to say who knows the most about what we watch. Karissa, CJ, are you two ready?
I've never been more ready.
CJ, are you ready? Okay. All right. First question. CJ answered first for most of these. How many sequels were there to this movie?
I guess at least one. We've talked about it.
Right.
So I'll say one.
I'll say 2 just for the hell of it.
Yeah, 2 is correct.
All right.
What was the third one
Were
about?
you
I have
unsure?
not seen. I've never seen the third one.
The third
Oh,
one's
okay.
about the second one? Because the second
Yeah,
one's
right.
about the
Yeah, yeah.
The third one is a direct sequel to the second one. I mean, not direct,
Okay.
but it's like
Sure.
20 years later or whatever.
Okay.
And it was recent. I think it was like 2017 or something like that.
I do think
whoa.
yeah, that
2014 or
actually,
something?
yeah, that actually sounds familiar to me, but I never watched it.
They do show stuff in that one. So if you were looking for something more updated, I remember actually being scared by that one too.
Really?
When I saw it in theaters. Yeah.
Where you like see figures, you mean? Like,
You see,
or
you see
people
shit.
getting.
Yeah, you see.
Well, they're in the woods. I imagine you'd see some shit. Yeah.
Yeah,
There's animals
yeah.
out there.
Some
and-
literal shit.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think you see figures. I don't remember exactly what, but now that I'm already down this rabbit hole of seeing both
Yes.
the first two, I'm gonna probably watch the
You have
third.
to. You have
Yeah.
to. That's how I felt about watching the second one. I was like, well, I have to now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Watch the third and report back.
I'll do
Okay.
the same.
All right, sweet. All right, so Chris gets the first point. Next question. What was the original budget for this movie? So this is a little tricky because there was conflicting things on Wikipedia, but this is the budget before they were purchased and did a whole bunch of post-production edits to it. So, yeah.
I'm
just
awful
keep that in
at these
mind.
questions. Especially, feels very low budget, and the fact that like it's all shot on, we think, 2 cameras. Man, I have no idea. $20,000.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna say $25,000. I have heard these statistics before, so I do feel like I have a little bit of an advantage, but I don't remember exactly. But CJ, I think you're pretty close because I
okay.
think it was a pretty low budget, and then it like made a ton more money
Yeah.
than the budget. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So I've written down 60,000. So Krista gets the point. But yeah, it was a range, and then it went up way closer to $1 million after they were purchased and did some
Whoa.
other stuff to it.
Dang.
Okay, so next question: how much did this gross worldwide?
Oh man.
I'm really bad at this.
Yeah, same. Especially in it's 90s
Yeah.
money too.
Oh yeah,
All this inflation. Thanks, Obama.
Thanks, Obama.
I have.
I'll say 6 million. No, 10 million.
okay.
That's about what I was. 5 million.
Krista gets the point again, but you guys are way off. 250 million.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
I didn't
it was-
realize it was that much. I knew it was a lot for the budget, but I didn't know it was that much.
It's the 41st most profitable horror movie of all time.
I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah.
All right, Ken, name those other 40. Go.
Nope. All right. Next question.
Nope.
How many hours? Well, you know what? My other guess is probably next week's movie, but we'll get
Yes.
to that in a second.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah, but
Yeah.
no spoilers.
Yes. How many hours of footage was shot in the woods by the actors that they edited down to hour and a half?
Okay, you gave us a little hint earlier. You said they were out there for 8 days. So I'm going to say that they shot at least 8 hours a day on each of those 8 days, which is 64 hours.
Okay.
I was thinking more. They probably only shot. We see days and nights each time, but probably only like, I'll say 16. I'm thinking only like a couple hours a day or something.
CJ, you get the point this time. It was only 20 hours.
Wow,
total.
okay. Yeah, after I said that out loud, I was like, yeah, that's way too many.
Yeah, they probably
But
weren't
that's okay.
rolling the whole
Walking
time.
around.
No, they weren't
Yeah.
rolling the entire time. As much as I'd like to think they were.
Yeah, I can't tell if there were actually 8 days or not in the movie. I wonder if there were like days where they thought like, this is too boring, let's just cut it out.
Yeah, totally.
I don't know.
That's such a cool approach to making this movie.
I
don't
know.
That's like, that makes me love this movie even more.
That is very cool.
Yeah. This is the first time I've watched it since I knew that. And it kind of adds a whole new appreciation to it. I want more movies to approach it that way and just kind of leave it up to the actors to drive the story. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right, next question. How many video games were created off of this IP?
Oh, wow.
Huh.
I'll say 3.
Not a movie you would think would have video games.
I think it lends itself to like a cool format though.
Yeah.
Like if it's like you I mean most games are the like first person you walking around anyway. So if it's like you're armed with just a camera and a flashlight kind of thing. And not the map. It's been lost and kicked in the creek. I was gonna say 3 too. I'll say 4 in case there's more.
4 is correct. Yes.
Wow. Good work.
There's a lot. So
Have you
there
ever
were-
played any of them?
Yes. So first of all, there were 3 that were in like the early 2000s that are apparently not that great. But there's one that came out only a couple years ago for modern consoles, and it was pretty good.
Oh, cool.
The gimmick with that was like you were a guy with a dog walking through the same woods that Blair Witch took place in, and you would find these tapes, and when you would put them in your handheld camera, you could look through it and rewind the environment, so it would change the environment around you, and you would find
cool.
different things that way. And yeah, it was kind of neat.
That's really
neat.
cool.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Is it like attached to the Blair Witch, like the haunting at all, or is it just kind of like you're in the woods?
Yes, I remember it's tied to the story, not to the characters or anything like that, but to the Blair Witch and the little stick figure guys and things like that.
Yeah, very cool.
All right, what is the score, CJ?
Karissa's still up 3-2.
3-2. Okay, this might be the final question. What is the Rotten Tomatoes tomato meter score in percentage closest without going over Karissa? Since you're in the lead, you go first. This is the critic score on Rotten Tomatoes.
This is tough, but I am going to say 91%.
Okay.
I think critics love this for all of the reasons that we've described.
Okay.
High praise. I mean 91. So I'll just go 90. Right? That's the smart play.
That is the smart play. Yes.
So I'm gonna go with. Wait, are we? You said closest, right? Are we not
Closest
right?
without going over is what it
Oh,
said.
okay. No.
Does
no,
anyone
then
want to revise
Yep, I'm gonna
based on
read.
that?
I'm gonna redo.
I don't.
Then $1, Bob.
Yeah, CJ gets the point.
Wow. $1.
Karissa, you were close. 86%.
Okay, I wasn't too far off. I was a little optimistic, but that's okay.
It's still pretty well received
Yeah,
from the critics. So,
Yeah.
okay, here's the final tiebreaker. Just closest. What is the audience score in percentage on Rotten Tomatoes?
CJ, you go first.
So audience members, kind of full of dum-dums. So I'm sure if you probably scrolled through reviews, you would get ones that are in capital letters going fake.
Yes. Yes.
Like, yeah,
Yes, that's the point. Thank
yes,
you.
It's fake. Yes, good job, reviewer. So I'll say lower. I'm gonna go in the 60s. I think 65.
Dang, that's exactly what I was
Oh,
going to
wow.
say. But I will say 67.
CJ's our winner. Dang.
See?
56%.
Oh,
Wow. Good work, CJ.
wow! Pulled it
Wow,
out.
you
But
did.
yeah, 56 is really low.
That is
Yeah,
really
dang.
low. I thought I would expect audience members to like this. To be a little smarter, a little more sophisticated.
I think this is where it's like, remember, this is on Rotten Tomatoes,
Yes.
which probably did not exist back then.
Yes.
And then so it's
Yeah.
like all the reviewers are seeing it now.
Yes, that is fair.
That's
is
a good
fair.
point. Good point.
Yes, but man, I just still expect the audience to be smarter than that. But when will I learn?
Welcome to the internet,
Welcome to the
Yes.
internet.
full of dum-dums.
That is, yeah. Well, one thing we haven't talked about at all
Ooh.
is this is the last thing I'll say about this film is the iconic shot of Heather Donahue right up the nose, baby.
Yes. Yes.
So what I love about it is that there are all of these, and CJ, I'm glad you've seen this movie now, because now you'll see all of the cultural references to that shot, and there are lots of them. So congrats, you're part of the club now, and you will see all of the references to that shot, which is it has
iconic.
withstood the test of time. Yes, it's still referenced in a lot of places.
Just
so.
snot soaked.
Just yep.
Beanie up close.
Yep.
Straight up the nose.
Straight up the nose,
Yeah.
baby. And now that you've said that a lot of this was improvised, I wonder how much of that was improvised.
Oh yeah, I don't know.
That's really cool to imagine that she just did that and that it is so iconic having just improvised it. That's interesting.
It was smart just that move of turning the camera around to be like, well, you can't really see anything that I'm showing, so I'm going to show you my reaction of it. Yeah.
I love what she says. She says, I'm scared to close my eyes and I'm scared to open them.
Yeah.
That's so,
really
that's
good.
That's really good. That's
Dang.
such a good line.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm so sorry to derail us. I had to sneak that in because that is
that's important.
one of my, my
Yeah.
gosh, it's one of my faves.
Any shots of those in the second one?
Sadly, no.
No.
No, the second one,
Zero.
don't
iconic-
bother. Yeah,
iconic.
don't
Don't
bother.
bother?
Yeah,
Okay.
don't bother.
That's the rating.
Yeah,
Don't bother.
yeah, don't bother.
Real bad. Rushed out. Came out
Yes.
1 year after this movie.
Yes. They were trying
Writing's
to
horrible.
capitalize.
Acting's horrible.
Yes.
Everything's bad.
Everything's bad. Do not watch. 0 out of 10.
0
well,
out of 10.
1 out of 10.
Because it is a movie.
Sure, it is a movie.
It gets a point.
a
I did
movie.
watch it.
Yeah,
So
okay.
1 out of 10.
I think I gave it 1 out of 5 on Letterboxd, which is probably
Yeah, I
more
think-
generous than I should have done. But
I think that's what I did too. I need to knock that down to a half star. Yeah.
maybe too.
Yeah.
Oosh.
All right. Well, I think it's time for our ratings of this movie, though.
Ratings.
Ratings. Chris, on a scale of 1 to 10, what would you rate the Blair Witch Project for you?
For me, I'm rating this a 10 out of 10, baby. This movie has everything. It has snot. It has rocks. It has sticks. It has ghosts. No, but for real, I think it's really, really unique for its time. It's not as unique for this time, but I can recognize how novel and interesting it was at the time. It scared the shit out of me as a kid. Thought it was real for sure. 10 out of 10.
Damn. Yeah.
Dang. Nice.
Yes, and even rewatching it, I would still give it a 10 out of 10. Like on rewatch, as you know, a grown up, I was like, yes, this still hits. And I don't know if it's the nostalgia or if it's actually that good, but I'm going to say it's actually that good.
Dang.
Dang. Nice. CJ, I think you're up next.
Yeah, I assumed. Let's see. So I'm trying to I can appreciate that this was sort of the first of its kind in a way, right? Like
Yes.
when this came out, this is groundbreaking.
Yes.
No one had done this before. Very cool. I unfortunately am now watching it in the year 2022,
Yeah.
where it's been done a lot. I think at this point,
Yes.
and because our attention spans and mine specifically are so shot these days that like I need stuff to be happening a lot. It's not gonna be a 10 out of 10.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay.
What?
But
I'm shocked. I'm really shocked.
I know. I'm so sorry. I don't know. I am really struggling with this. I don't didn't hate it. I did enjoy it. It's paced well. There's most of the movie, like that is sort of the point of the movie is the suspense, right? It's kind of cool not really knowing what's out there or what you can't see much. So it's all left to your own psyche and your twisted mind. So because it's a horror movie, I wouldn't watch it again.
That's fair.
But
Okay. I'm
I'm sort of setting that aside for the rating
Okay.
because I think this deserves above a 5.
Okay, there's a lot of build-up happening here.
I know.
Yeah,
It's because
wow.
I'm if you can't tell, I'm sort of figuring it out on the
Sure.
spot.
You did not think about this for
Did not
1
think-
second prior to this
No.
moment. Okay,
I
great.
watched it today, so I haven't had a lot of time to process
Sure.
it. Finished it like a few hours before this.
Excellent.
I wouldn't be that upset if I was somewhere and it was like on. I wouldn't be like, oh, fuck this. I can't believe they're watching this.
All right, great.
Maybe
great.
like 6.5.
Okay, excellent.
Okay.
That's way higher than I thought you were
Yeah,
gonna give it.
really?
So
Yeah.
I'm really impressed. You said, can you repeat those words? I enjoyed it.
Did I say that?
I did hear you say that.
Oh, okay. I guess I enjoyed it.
Wow.
Wow.
All right. We're kicking off Spooky Month on a high note here.
Yes.
Very high note of a 6.5.
Yes.
For CJ, that is glowing.
It is. Yes.
That's a rave review.
Yeah. Well, for me, I'm of two minds. So when I watched this again, which is probably my fourth or fifth time watching it, we talked about this before the show, but I watched it in my backyard on a projector, which was maybe not I thought it would be cool. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm going to be outside, and this movie takes place outside, and it'll be cool. But it's so shaky cam that it was kind of difficult to watch on a big projector.
Yeah.
And yeah, CJ, I'm with you. Not a whole lot happens for a good portion of this movie.
Yeah. For this movie being like 90 minutes long or less, it's pretty slow.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a lot of buildup.
Yes.
Yeah, right. So yeah, my ADD was taking over, and I'm like, I can't deal. But I hung in there, obviously, because I know what's coming. So I feel like the beginning and parts of the middle and then the ending are the big moments for me.
Okay, so the beginning, middle, and end are good.
Which leaves...
Okay, go on.
So then we got the beginning, middle, and then the beginning, end. But then the beginning of the middle.
Yes.
The beginning of the
My
what?
favorite.
Yes. All right, that's a
Okay.
fair call out. Anyway, yeah, I don't know. I feel like, okay, I'm going to give 2 ratings. I'm going to give one for this watch and my overall rating.
Okay, great.
This watch, I don't know. I like maybe a 6. I don't know. It didn't hit as hard for me, but the ending still got me. Overall, I'm going to give it a 7.5, I think.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Not bad. Not bad. 7.5.
Yeah.
I think that's fair.
That's a solid.
Yeah, I think that's
Yeah.
fair.
CJ, if you had watched it knowing that it was completely improvised, would you have had a different appreciation for it, do you think?
That's a good question. I mean, I knowing that now, I definitely do have a better appreciation for it. I don't know if that would have improved my watch or not. Obviously, I knew it was fake going into it, but I put my mindset into believing it, right?
Sure.
Like I wanted to be sort of invested. So I don't know.
So maybe they would have changed it then.
Yeah, that maybe would have taken me out of it more, actually.
Interesting.
But yeah, I mean, points because, me, I love some improvisation.
Yeah,
Credits
that's
to
what I
them
was
for
thinking.
doing that. Yeah.
And they really sell it.
They do,
I think that now knowing that, I would give it an 11. I know. No, 10 is satisfactory, but that is impressive, and it
10 is satisfactory?
Yeah, that's satisfactory. No, but that really is interesting that they improvise that. I want to rewatch it now, knowing that, and watch it through that lens. I think is interesting. Yeah,
It's pretty neat.
yeah.
Cool. Well, Karissa, thank you for joining us for the spooky ghost stories, for everything, for picking this movie.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you for letting me choose one of my very favorite scary movies. I'm so excited to hear the rest of your lineup for spooky season. I imagine most of them I have seen, but I'm excited to maybe watch some new ones.
Ken?
Yeah.
Do you want to announce the lineup?
Yeah, absolutely. Should we go through all of them since I know what they're all going to be? All right.
Let's do
cool.
it.
These are some of them will be a surprise to me. I have not heard of them.
Yeah, these will definitely be a surprise to me. So I will be giving genuine reactions.
All right. So we've teased the hell out of next week's. Next week, we're
Yes.
having Zach on, and we are going to be talking about Paranormal Activity. Yes. So it's kind of a cool double feature of 2 of the most prolific found footage movies of all time.
Yes, I'm so excited. I can't wait.
I'm
I
not.
love that one. Have you ever seen it, Siege?
What do you think?
The answer is no.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
That is the one that I thought you were going to say no to.
Yeah.
I'm accepting whatever the guest chooses. I'm trying to stick to the format of the show.
Well, I've seen all of them, so if you
Yeah,
ever want to
same.
talk about it, we can chat about 1 through 8.
Maybe
or
I'll
whatever.
call you while I'm watching it so you can just start
Okay.
talking me down from the ledge.
Excellent. I'll yes,
This
just let me
this
know.
isn't real, right?
Right.
Please tell me it's not real.
Tell me it's not real.
God. That's the thing. Okay, all of these are going to be like daytime watches when
Yeah.
it's bright and sunny outside.
Right.
Yep.
All right, next.
Okay. So that is next week. So that'll come out on the 12th. And again, that's with Zach from the Have To podcast. The following week, we have Shelby Weaver coming back out.
Yes.
and that comes out on the 19th. And we're going to be talking about A Nightmare on Elm Street.
Wow, the original?
Yeah, classic. Nope, not that one.
I know
Wrong
that's
one,
not.
wrong one.
We don't have one. How about this one?
No, yeah,
No.
this other, maybe. Yeah, two other
Wow.
giant franchises, but not that one. We'll have to
Okay.
get a sound effect for Nightmare on
Yeah,
Elm Street
don't have
before we
that
record that.
Very excited about that. That's another one that like really scared me. Talking about nightmares, anything sleep related is very scary to me. So looking forward to that.
Excited to hear him say bitch a lot. That's the only thing I know about that movie.
Bitch.
Bitch, you're in my world now. Bitch.
Oh my God, is Freddy Krueger here?
That'll be the sound effect that I pull.
Just
Great.
clip it. Clip it.
Say bitch. Over.
That's perfect.
Clip it and jib it.
And then the 26th, we have Danny from the Double Murder Podcast, which is
figured.
completely defunct at this point. But for the Halloween episode, we're going to be talking about Basket Case.
Basket case.
Never
I've never
heard of
seen
that.
that. No.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm
Well,
excited.
Should be good.
I'll have to watch it.
Well, that's the lineup. Yeah, that's our month of October. So feel free to watch ahead and get prepared so that you can listen along and understand what we're talking about.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. Karissa, thanks again for joining us. Do you have any words of
Yes.
wisdom at the end here?
Oh, wow. Words of wisdom. Take a hike and get lost, bitch.
Whoa, all right.
Bitch.
Bitch. CJ, what do we have at the end here?
Our words of wisdom is that you should follow us on all the things at Overtalking Pod.
Wow, so wise.
Email us at overtalkingpod@gmail.com. Go to our website, overtalkingpod.party. You can type in the word Karissa, find all of our previous episodes.
What's up?
All the previous Spooky Month ones, stuff like that. Call or text us at USACat1591.
Absolutely. Oh, no. What? They're here.
Michael Myers?
Oh, Michael Myers. They're wearing a Michael Myers mask.
So weird.
Yeah. Guys, you're a little early. The new movie doesn't come out till next week, but okay.
There's another one?
Yeah. Halloween Ends.
Oh, wow.
God.
Yeah. We'll have to talk about that more next week because I have a lot of thoughts on that. Anyway, the Overtalking Overlords have arrived in full spooky month attire. They're here to remind me to remind you. If you like the show, please go on Apple Podcasts and rate and review. Reviews are what help you find this podcast. Also, we spend no money on advertising, so if you like the show, please tell a friend and spread the word. We'd really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, and they're gone. And as we always say...
Bye.
This spooky episode of the Overtalking Podcast was edited by CJ, produced by Ken and CJ. Special guest this week was Karissa. Music by Justin Peters. Logo by Nate Richards. Check out Nate's work on Instagram at Nate Richards Design.
Jesus.
There's my friend Josh.